Hi everyone, it's Nicole here, the Harmonious Hippy. Today's video is going to be the first video in a 7-part series, so for the next 7 uploads, the next 7 Saturdays. You may already have an idea of what that is going to be just based from that number, but we are going to be doing the chakras. So today's video is going to be a yoga flow based on the root chakra, Muladhara chakra. Each one has a specific color linked to it, certain crystals, a specific chant or sound for it, which is why I am wearing red today. So if you would like to throw on something red, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, we're not going to be using any props today. You can just grab some water if you'd like. The root chakra can be a little bit more of a leg heavy, fiery practice. We are going to be doing a lot of grounding today, so there's going to be a lot of leg work, so you might be sweating. I for sure will be, but I think no one's surprised by that. So you just need yourself, maybe some red. If you want to grab a couple crystals to bring with you, they're typically going to be red crystals. Otherwise, it's just us today. So let's get started. Okay, so just coming to your mat. If you're in red clothing or not, that's totally fine. I just wanted to show you guys, I have a couple of examples of root chakra crystals here. So I have one here that is carnelian and the other one is a jasper. So it sort of depends what you're feeling. If you like doing crystal work, you can like line crystals up your body all along the meridians. What the chakras are is that they're basically just energy points that come all along the spine. Some people believe that they basically can get clogged up, and each one can be linked to certain specific issues in the body and emotionally. So the root chakra is for strength and stability. That's kind of what this one rules over. So root chakra, it's red, it's located at like the very tip of your end of your spine, the tailbone kind of area. And an unbalanced root chakra will look like arthritis, constipation, bladder and bowel issues, not instability, but insecurity in finances and basic needs, feeling like you don't have what you need, feeling unsafe, that kind of thing, really unsteady and unstable. That's going to be something that's related to your root chakra. So the flow that we're going to do today is all about the root chakra, and it's all for moving the energy in the root chakra. We're going to do a little meditation at the end with some chanting, but as always, you don't have to chant out loud if you don't feel comfortable doing that. You can just listen to me. I have a set of chakra singing bowls, so this is the singing bowl for the root chakra. You'll notice throughout the 7 weeks as we go, the bowls get smaller and the sounds get higher. So root chakra is more of like the base, the heavy stability. So we really want to be grounded in this practice today. I'm just going to light some sage just to start off, just to clear our space here. And as always, with every practice that we do, sorry, my cat is out of control today. What else is new, right? With every practice that we do, always listen to your body. If you are feeling unstable, unbalanced in your root chakra, this might be a really uncomfortable practice for you. I do invite you to just kind of do your best and see where you're at today. Push yourself a little bit as always, but if things are feeling too uncomfortable, if you're getting too emotional, you can totally back off. That's 100% up to you. That's your decision. It's the fun part of YouTube. I can't see you. So if you end up just watching the whole practice while laying on the floor, that's perfect. Do whatever works for you. You can always come back to these practices as well if you find that you're feeling a little unstable. You know, that kind of thing. Always just kind of see where you're feeling things as well. You can also notice what kind of colors that you might be drawn to in your wardrobe. That might mean either an instability or that's just the chakra that's resonating with you right now. If you have like certain crystals that you normally wear, you might notice that you're drawn to like a blue lace agate, and that would be your throat chakra. So you know, like, oh, I'm kind of resonating with my throat chakra this week. Just interesting little things like that. As I said in the intro, the root chakra in Sanskrit is known as the Muladhara chakra. I have some notes here that I've written down. I've actually written notes for once, so we're gonna be sticking to our little plan today. And like I said, we're gonna do a little meditation at the end with the singing bowl. So let's get ready to get going here. I've got my sage, if you wanted to burn some sage too. I'm just gonna move the candle away from me because that's asking for it. And just coming to your comfortable seat as always, beginning the practice. And just maybe coming onto a pillow or a block, maybe just starting off sitting on your couch. I'm gonna have a weird popped leg as usual, the ankle's still not fixed. And for this one today, we're gonna have the palms facing down. We are focusing on grounding, which is really the base of the root chakra. We really wanna ground ourselves down. So anything where your palms would typically be up, or you can choose, let's have them down today. Just to ground ourselves down. So closing down the eyes, let's roll the shoulders up and back, nice and open across the chest. And just beginning to come into your breath. Moving the breath in and out through the nose. Coming into the body. Noticing how you feel today, in this moment. Perhaps your mind feels very busy. Maybe you're feeling quite light, a little scattered maybe. Maybe you already feel quite grounded. Maybe you're feeling a little bit heavy today. Just noticing the weight of the body pressing down onto your seat, the weight of the hands on the legs. Feeling the air on your skin. Maybe you've got a fan going. Maybe there's heat blowing near you. Feeling comfortable in this present space that we're in right now. Noticing if you've started to already clench something or hold somewhere, just letting that go, releasing the shoulders down, relaxing the muscles in the face. Just bringing some awareness to the physical idea of the root chakra. So I like to visualize this almost like an aura that's kind of shooting out from a specific point in every direction. So as I mentioned earlier, the root chakra is located at the base of the spine, the tailbone area. So perhaps just visualizing a red, warm red light. Just surrounding that space, surrounding the base of the body, the hips, the pelvic area. And feeling this light grow brighter, this ball of light that starts at the base of your spine. And feeling comforted by this light, feeling like you are held, you are stable here, you have what you need. And just taking a few cleansing breaths before we get moving here. Just taking a deep inhale through the nose, opening the mouth, let that go. Twice more, deep inhale through the nose. Gather up any last bits of stress or tension. And exhale, sigh. Last one, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out the mouth, let that go. And you can blink the eyes open. I'm gonna come down off my block here. So if you're up on something, you might want to come flat down. We're going to start to move into the Sufi grind, Siri Om. So just sitting cross-legged, beginning to make smaller, large circles with the body. Just starting to get some movement in the hips, and the sides. And as always, it's whatever you're feeling today. So if you feel quite contained, you can make little small circles. Maybe you feel like you need some movement. Maybe you want to start to bring the chest and the head into these circles. Just making sure that you're kind of flowing with your breath. So on my inhale, I like to come forward, and the exhale, coming backward, hollowing out, bringing that movement in. And when you're ready, just switching directions, feeling the hips maybe start to open up a little bit. Making those circles, feeling maybe some heat or sensation start to build in the hip area. And just slowly coming back to stillness, back to center. We're gonna do some cat-cows here in our seated position. So if you want, you can bring the soles of the feet to touch. That makes it a little bit easier sometimes. Your heels can be as close or as far as you'd like from your body. And we're just gonna hold on to our ankles, our shins here, and grow nice and tall. On the inhale, like we do with our cat pose, we're gonna start to open the shoulders, rolling the shoulders back, perhaps tilting the neck back if that's comfortable. Inhale, let the belly fall open. And then on your exhale, pulling back against your ankles, curling the spine, chin to chest, squeezing that breath out. And just flowing like that. You can close down the eyes if you'd like. So inhale, dropping the head back, opening across the chest. And exhaling, curling the spine back. Flowing with your own breath. Waking up the spine. Just doing a few more of these. Getting that movement in the spine, movement in the neck. And completing your last exhale, we're gonna roll over onto tabletop position, all fours. If you'd like to bring a folded up blanket or something under your knees, you can go ahead and do that. And we're gonna do a little bit of core here. So obviously your core is very helpful in keeping you stable. So it's very important to do when you are working with the root chakra. You do wanna make sure that your core is nice and steady. So lining the hands up underneath the shoulders, knees under the wrists. We're gonna take opposite hand and foot. So you can start with whichever side you'd like. We're gonna reach these out. And notice here if your hip has sunk, if you're opening the hip, try and keep the two hips even. The toes are pointing down. Keep the core tight. You don't want to be sinking here. So nice and tight in the core. The arm is out in line with the ear. Nice and strong. And then let's crunch those in towards each other. Inhaling out. Exhaling to crunch. Twice more. Inhale, open. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, open. Exhale, crunch. Placing the hand and knee back down and moving on to the other side. So maybe starting with the leg, making sure your hips are even, your core is nice and stable, reaching out the arm, nice and strong here, crunching those together. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, crunch. Twice more here. Inhale, stretch out. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. And back to our all fours here. We're gonna thread the needle here just to wake up the spine again. So again, choosing whichever side you'd like and sweeping that arm open and then threading it underneath the other, bringing the side of the head down to the mat, making sure you're nice and comfortable here, really peeling the thoracic spine open. If you'd like, you can extend the arm above the head, really helping to peel you open here. Breathing deeply through the nose, into the belly. Twisting that open. And bringing the hand back in front of the face, pressing into that hand, sweeping that arm open, and placing that back down. Just adjusting yourself here to do the other side. So we're gonna take the other hand now, sweep the chest open, and thread underneath, dropping the ear to the mat, twisting the upper back open, perhaps lifting that arm above the head, really peeling the shoulders back. Breathing deeply. And bringing the hand back in front of the face, pressing into that hand and peeling the chest open again. Hands come down. We're gonna come into puppy dog pose. So this is a really nice shoulder stretch. So just try and keep your hips in line with your knees here, and we're just gonna start to sink forward. So perhaps your forehead will come to the mat here, just feeling that opening, creeping the hands forward. If you come to a point where your chest is on the floor, you can lift the head and place the chin on the floor. Noticing what feels comfortable for you. Stretching the shoulders. Breathing. And slowly beginning to come back up. We're gonna remove the props here and press into the hands. Curl the toes under and begin lifting the hips into our downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet here. Maybe wagging our tail side to side. Just taking whatever movement you need to here just to get nice and comfortable. Maybe coming up onto the tiptoes and back down. And inhale, gazing up at the thumbs. Let's walk our feet up to the top of the mat. And we're going to bend the knees and roll up to standing. All right, so coming into our Tadasana, our mountain pose. This is a very important pose for the root chakra. I'm already sweating. This is a very important pose for the root chakra because it is very stable, very strong. So when we come into our Tadasana, as always, we want to make sure that the feet are in line under the hips and that we are energetically pulling up from the arches of the feet. So you can lift the toes to really feel that, and then just place the toes back down lightly, pulling the energy up from the ground. You want to pull the knees up and tucking the pelvis as always, tucking the tailbone, engaging the core slightly, nice and open across the chest. Palms can come to the front, growing nice and tall from the crown of the head. Nice and steady and strong here. So if someone were to push you, you would barely move. So very strong here. This is what we're always going to come back to. So today we're going to do some sun salutations. Surya Namaskar, but we are going to do Surya Namaskar B today, Sun Salutations B. So typically in a class that I'm doing, we're going to do a Sun Salutation A. Sun Salutation B is a little bit better for grounding. There's a chair pose involved. You do a little bit more work with Warrior One. So we are going to do that today. I will cue you, don't worry. It's not too different from the standard one, so it'll be pretty similar. So just coming to the front of the mat, coming into our nice and strong Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, coming into our chair pose. So bending at the knees here, leaving the arms up. We want to make sure we're not coming parallel. We want to keep our chest nice and tall. And notice here if you're immediately sticking your bum out, you do want to tuck the tailbone, engaging in the core, making sure that the knees are not coming in. You want them nice and lined up over the toes, feeling that in the knees. You can start to rotate your pinkies in, and that's going to create a little more work in the arms. So bending nice and deep here, chair pose, and folding down. Inhaling to halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold down, planting the hands. We're going to step back to our high plank and come through your chaturanga transition. So you can drop the knees if you'd like, or you can come through chaturanga, upward facing dog, or baby cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Lifting the right foot, we're going to step that in between our hands, dropping the left foot at the back there down to about a 45-degree angle, and bending into that front knee, we're going to come up into our Warrior One. So Warrior One, you want to ensure that the hips are going in the same direction. This can be pretty hard for some people depending on your anatomy. I find it quite hard just with the length of my calves and my hamstrings. It feels like I can barely bend into my front knee. But do your best. If it's uncomfortable, you can always come to a high lunge, making sure that you are still trying to drive the tailbone down. And inhaling the arms up overhead, check in with the rib cage, make sure that that hasn't swayed out. This is not a back bend here, so nice and strong in our Warrior One, dropping the hands back to the ground, bending in the knee, and stepping back, high plank, chaturanga, upward dog or baby cobra, downward dog. Take a breath here. Inhale, lifting the left foot. We're going to step that in between the hands, stepping the back foot in slightly, coming to a 45-degree angle with that so that we can come into our Warrior One on the other side. So bending into that front knee, leveling the hips, arms come up, nice and steady and strong here. Exhale the arms back down, stepping back to our high plank, chaturanga, baby cobra or upward dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs. You can step or hop to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Now we're gonna bend our knees with our inhale, sweep the arms up, coming back into your chair pose. Tucking that tailbone, nice and strong here. Inhale, palms come to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. So not that different, right? We're gonna do that twice more. So there is quite a bit more chaturanga in this one. If you find that that's getting a little too intense for you, you can always hold your downward dog instead of coming into the Warrior One. That'll kind of get rid of a couple of the vinyasas. So doing what works for you as always, coming into our Tadasana, nice and strong here, mountain pose. Inhale, sweeping the arms up overhead. Exhale, sitting down into our chair pose, tucking the tailbone. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, planting the hands, stepping back to your high plank. You can drop the knees here or come through full chaturanga. Inhale to your baby cobra, your upward dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, lifting the right leg up and stepping that between the hands, dropping that back heel to a 45-degree angle, coming up to your warrior one, bending into that front knee. Placing the hands back down, stepping back to your high plank, chaturanga. Inhaling to your baby cobra, your upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhaling the left leg up, stepping it between the hands. Stepping that back foot to a 45-degree angle, sweeping the arms up, warrior one. Exhaling back down, stepping back to your high plank, chaturanga, upward facing dog or baby cobra, and exhale, downward dog. Take a breath. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, stepping or hopping to the front of the mat into your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, nice flat back. Exhale, fold. Bending into the knees, sweeping the arms up into the chair pose. Making sure you're tucking that tailbone. Inhale, standing up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Take a breath here. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, sitting back into chair pose. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, planting the hands, stepping back to your high plank, dropping the knees or coming through chaturanga. Inhale to your baby cobra or your upward facing dog. And exhale to downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale, sweeping the right foot up and stepping that between your hands. Stepping the back foot into your 45-degree angle. Arms come up, bending into that front knee into your warrior one, nice and strong in the core. Exhaling the hands back down, stepping back to your high plank, chaturanga, baby cobra or upward dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhaling the left leg up, stepping between the hands, stepping that back foot into its 45-degree angle, sweeping the hands up, check in with the hips, make sure they're both facing forward, warrior one. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Last time, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog or baby cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose. And open the mouth. Inhale, gazing up at the thumbs, stepping or hopping to the front of your mat. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bending into the knees, sweeping the arms up, chair pose. Inhale, up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Take a breath here. Let that sink in. Great job, guys. That one is a lot harder, I think. I am sweating. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit more with our standing postures for a bit here, just to really ground through the feet, ground through the legs. So up at your Tadasana, mountain pose, we're gonna step back into our high lunge. So as always, making sure that you're not stepping back in line, because that's gonna be really hard to stay balanced. You wanna step back where your foot is, in line with where that foot was staying instead of in line with the other foot. So let's step back with our right foot first. Stepping back, nice and steady. Perhaps putting a little bit of a bend into that back leg so that you can tuck the pelvis, drop the tailbone, engage the core. And then we're gonna rotate in that right leg, rotate that open, coming into our warrior two legs. So you can widen your stance a little bit if that's comfortable. We want our front heel to be in line with the arch of the back foot. So bending into that front knee, making sure that the knee stays in line with the ankle bone. So you might notice if you're very far over it, you might need to expand your stance a little bit. So we're going to tuck our tailbone as always, opening the arms out nice and wide. Try and make sure that they're in line with each other, but sort of try and feel it. Instead of always checking, see if you can feel where they are in space. We're gonna flip the palms up just to get the shoulders to roll down. And then you can flip them back. So holding our warrior two here, feeling the energy from the ground, pulling up the back leg. Noticing if you have hypermobility in this knee that you're not just slamming your knee back. You wanna bring a little micro bend into the knee and just really make sure you're using the strength of the leg instead of just using the flexibility to hold you here. So nice and strong in the leg, bending into that front knee. The knee is heading towards the pinky side. We're gonna drop the elbow to the quad in the front here, sweeping that arm over. Extended side angle, so pulling all of the energy from that back foot through the side body and shooting out the fingers. Still bending nice and strong into that front knee. Sweeping the arms back up into your warrior two. Bend in the front knee, let it burn, let it burn. Straighten. Now as if someone's pulling your arm, you're gonna start to fall over to that side and then dropping down. I like to bring my hand to my shin here. You could come to the floor, but really make sure that you are able to fully peel the body open. You can also come to a block, whatever's gonna make it more comfortable for you. So I like to come all the way down and peel my chest open. Gazing up at the top thumb. If that's not comfortable on your neck, you can always gaze down. Tucking the tailbone, core nice and strong. Bringing a bend into that front knee, sweeping up into your warrior two again. Nice deep bend in that front leg, tucking the tailbone. Breathing here. And then we're gonna swivel this back toe back into our high lunge here. So we're back in our high lunge warrior one variation. If you have space in front of you, great. If not, back up a little bit like I did, because we're gonna come into warrior three here. So we're gonna come into a balance. So just starting to come nice and light on those back toes, a little baby bend in this front leg, trying to keep the hips nice and even here. As you start to come into your warrior three, you can open the arms, you can keep them on your hips. And then just bringing that foot down to the ground, forward fold. I've got cat hair in my mouth, what else is new? Letting that go, maybe rocking side to side here. Bending the knees, rolling up. Other side. So I'm gonna come to this side just so that I'm facing you guys the whole time, but you can stay at the front of your mat. Nice and strong in our mountain pose. This time we're using the left leg to step back into our high lunge, our crescent lunge. Again, you can bend into that back leg to make sure that you're nice and tucked in the pelvis. Tailbone is pointing down, core is engaged. And then dropping that back heel, opening the legs to your warrior two legs. So front heel is in line with the arch of the back foot, bending into that front knee, tucking the tailbone. Knee is going towards the pinky side of the toe, opening the arms nice and wide. Try and feel where they are in space. Flipping the palms up just to roll the shoulders down the back. And then bringing those back. Gaze is at your middle finger. Nice and strong here, bending into that front knee, pulling up through the back leg. And dropping the elbow onto the front of your quad, if you will. Sweeping that arm up into our extended side angle. You can gaze up at the inner elbow We're down at the ground here, nice and strong in the legs. Sweeping the arms back into your warrior two, still bent in that front knee. Holding it nice and strong, let it burn. And straighten. Now as if someone's pulling your fingers forward, you're gonna start to come over towards that side and then dropping down to your calf. Oh, ignore my little tiny bend here. This one's hard for my ankle. Sweeping the chest open, triangle pose, gazing up at the thumb or down at the hands. Nice and strong here. Core is engaged. And bending into that front knee, sweeping back up into your warrior two. And then we're gonna swivel on that back foot, hopping back up to our high lunge. And then hands can come to the hips, growing nice and light on that back foot. We're gonna come into our warrior three, our balance pose. So nice and steady in the planted foot, maybe a little bend in that knee. Try and keep the hips evenly pointed down, the foot is pointed down. Perhaps releasing the arms in your little airplane arms. You can release the arms forward. And then dropping that foot, forward fold. Wiggling a little, letting that go. I'm gonna come back to the top of the mat here. We're gonna come into our yogi squat here, so our garland pose. So from our forward fold, I like to sort of just start to swivel on my feet and just find the width that works for you. Ideally, you'll have your heels down with your toes pointing forward. With the way that my legs are, I have bow legs, so my knees aren't gonna do that. I have to have my feet out. So find what's comfortable for you. And just coming into that squat. So you wanna bring your hands to heart center in front of you. And just come to a place where you can sink the tailbone down, pressing your knees out. Engaging Mula Bandha, so that's the pelvic floor, pulling that up, scooping the belly, and then sit down. Whew. Y'all, I'm sweating, I don't know about you. Whew. So coming into our four-limbed staff, this is our Dandasana, just the standard seated here. Feet out in front, let's flex our toes up. I like to wiggle a little just to make sure that I'm right on my sit bones, but do try not to pull out your bum flesh because then you might be sitting directly on your hamstring and we don't want that. So, allow me to wipe my sweat. We're gonna inhale, grow nice and tall, reaching the arms up, and exhale, starting to fold over. So try and fold over with a straight back for as far as you can. I'll come to the side here. So you may be able to grab onto your feet and you pull yourself all the way down. But at first we do want to try and come as far as we can with a flat back, just to make sure that we're coming up and out of the hip joints. So nice and tall, starting to come over the legs, flat back. You can hold onto your ankles here. You can have the hands on the floor. Just take a minute here. When you hit that wall that you can come to with your back flat still. And then grow nice and tall. And then exhale, folding over, draping the body. You can hold onto the feet, wherever's comfortable. Breathing deeply in your forward fold. And slowly coming back up. We're gonna bend our right knee and pull that heel in as close to the bum as we can. And we're gonna come into a twist here. So you can use your opposite arm to hold onto the leg. You can cross the arm over, whatever's the most comfortable for you. Grow nice and tall. I like to reach my right arm up and twist around to the right. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale to twist. Gazing down at that shoulder, tucking the chin slightly to protect the neck, and making sure that you're not using the hand behind you to really torque yourself around. If you needed to, you could lift the hand and you wouldn't move really at all. And making sure that you're not pulling with the neck. You really want to be using the strength of the core to be twisting you here, and this assisting arm here, not the back arm. So inhales, create space. Exhales, perhaps twist you a little bit deeper. Breathing deeply into the belly, getting a nice massage on the internal organs. Inhaling the head back to center, followed by the body. Let's release that knee, pulling up the left knee. Again, you can come around the front of the knee, you can cross over top. Lifting that arm up nice and tall, exhaling it behind you. Inhales, create space, and exhales, twist you deep. Gazing at that back shoulder, tucking the chin. Perhaps lifting the hand just to make sure that you're not relying on it too much. Breathing into the belly. Inhaling the head back to center, followed by the body. Let's release that leg and shake that out. And now we are going to lay down on our backs. So bringing the heels up in towards the bum, almost to the point where you could brush the heels with the fingers. We're gonna do a couple of bridge pose here. Now bridge pose can be really, really good for stability, for strength. So this is always a really good pose to do for your root chakra. So we're gonna plant the hands face down into the ground, pressing into the heels. We're gonna start to lift the hips, tucking in the shoulders. Squeezing into the glutes, the lower back, holding here. And then I like to rock up onto my toes and just slowly, starting at the top of the spine, curling my spine down, back onto the floor. Inhaling, lifting the hips, coming into your bridge pose. Hips up nice and high. Feeling the strength in the back body. Noticing if you release the glutes, how much you feel this in your lower back and your quads, and then squeezing the glutes, noticing how that feeling changes. And again, coming up onto the toes, slowly, slowly rolling the spine back down. We're gonna come into one more bridge here, and there's an option to come into a full wheel pose if that's in your practice. So if you'd like to come into your bridge again, you can inhale, pulling up the hips. If you'd like to come into your full wheel pose, the way I personally set up is that I sort of tuck my hands behind me. I like to come kind of up onto my toes, and I start to lift myself up almost as if I'm gonna come up onto the top of my head. And then from there is when I press through the arms, pushing up into the full wheel pose. Breathing here. This is a very intense stretch. My voice probably sounds crazy. And when you're ready, slowly lowering back down. If you're in your bridge, making sure that you're lowering the full spine to the ground. Pulling the knees into the chest, rocking side to side here. Releasing that out. Releasing the arms out like a T. We're gonna pull the knees up, And just start to drop the knees over to one side. Just a little supine twist here. Gaze can be at the opposite thumb or at the ceiling. And gaze comes back to center, followed by the rest of the body. And just rocking the knees over to the other side. Gazing at that opposite thumb. Back to center, followed by the knees. Reaching for the feet, coming into your happy baby pose, perhaps rocking side to side. Maybe straightening one leg and the other. Just getting out any last wiggles before we come into our Shavasana. And when you're ready, just extending the legs out long. Releasing the arms down by the sides. If this is hard on your lower back, you can bring the knees up and bring the feet out wide and let the knees fall in towards each other. You can also always take Shavasana on your stomach, or you can take the fetal position. Whatever's the most comfortable for you. So laying back in that comfortable pose, whatever feels best. Closing down the eyes, relaxing the body. Letting that go. Today's practice was a little bit of a shorter one, but quite intense nonetheless. So just letting the effects of that practice sink in. Feeling the body sink into the ground. If you'd like to feel a little bit more grounding, you can place the hands on the belly. Sinking down. Feeling supported and held by the earth. Breath settle out, become more comfortable as you just relax and let go. When the mind begins to wander, just bringing it back to the breath, body. With you once upon a dream. movements into the fingers and the toes. Perhaps rolling the wrists and the ankles. Maybe reaching the arms up overhead and taking a full body stretch. And when you're ready, just bringing the knees up and rolling over to your favorite side into the fetal position. Just using that bottom arm as a pillow and resting here for a moment. Just using that bottom arm to help press you up, coming to your comfortable cross-legged position. And keeping the eyes closed or heavy here. Just bringing the hands back, face down on the knees. So as we did earlier, we're just going to bring our attention to the root chakra. So focusing on that area at the base of the spine and the tailbone. And just imagine a small red light, little ball of light beginning in that area. And just growing brighter, wider. Feeling the strength of this light, knowing that it is there to hold you, to keep you stable and held always. Feeling this comfort from this red light. Feeling the flow of energy now that we've done this practice. Unhindered, just easeful. And the chant sound for the root chakra is LAM, L-A-M. So just like we do with Om, if you would like to chant with me, you can go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you can just listen to the sound of my voice and the singing bowl. Just, again, keeping the eyes closed and focusing that energy into the root chakra, that red light beaming forth from the body. To heart center, Anjali Mudra. We're laying the palms flat on the chest, bowing the head slightly to honor yourself and thank yourself for taking time out of your day to do this practice, to open up and release the root chakra. Thank you as always for joining me here. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. The light in me bows to the light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this practice. It was a little bit of a shorter one today, so some of the chakral flows will be a little shorter, around the half-hour mark, whereas some have quite a few postures that are really helpful for them. So it'll kind of vary, but of course you'll be able to see the length of the video before you get started, so you'll know if you have the amount of time to put towards it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you experienced some release. Maybe your root chakra was already open, so you don't really notice too much difference there. That's totally fine as well. I will see you again next week for our next chakra, and I hope that you have a great weekend, a great day, and I will see you next time. Namaste.